This month we are featuring Ashlea Campbell. Ashlea Campbell is the SEL Program Specialist in Richardson ISD in Richardson, Texas.
Yes,
I want to make sure it's the city. Okay. And I'm really excited to have Ashlea come here and join us. Ashlea, could you introduce yourself a little to the community and let everybody know who you are and what brings you to the world of social emotional learning?
All right, thank you for having me. And like Matt said, I'm in Richardson, Texas. We're right outside of Dallas, but a majority of our schools are actually in Dallas. And so I started out my career as a 7th grade language arts teacher here in Richardson, and then worked in student services in a different role. And then this year is my first year as the social and emotional learning program specialist for Richardson ISD.
Well, congratulations.
So, thank you.
Is that a new role for the district or a new role?
It is a new role. So we're prioritizing SEL as it should be.
Awesome. That's really great to hear. So I didn't realize that you're stepping into this new role. So I was going to say, what are some of the cool and interesting things that you're doing right now to support social emotional learning? But it sounds like you're originating a whole new position and I'd love to hear a little bit more about the work you're doing.
Sure. Well, the social emotional learning department is kind of nestled in student services, and we're with counseling services, our equity, diversity, and inclusion department, PBIS, prevention programming, and student welfare. And so we all are kind of working together. In 2018, we started an initiative, a mental health wellness initiative called Live Wise, Live Healthy. And that really allowed us to coordinate our efforts to educate families, students, and the community at large about some of the issues that students are facing in our district and across the nation. And so each month we have different events, again, for family members. We bring in community members to discuss that. And so that really helped us to kind of start that focus on social emotional learning. In 2019, when we brought on our second step curriculum and things like that, our district looked to provide more professional learning in the area of social and emotional learning for our staff. And so we took this as an opportunity to coordinate with our existing Live Wise, Live Healthy initiative. And so instead of just, checking off getting that credit for SEL, we really worked to help our staff grow. And so in 2019, 2020, we really had a kind of a general look at SEL, like what SEL is. And then this year we focused on self-awareness and self-care for educators. And this was decided before the pandemic, but it kind of is really appropriate now, especially as our staff are trying to navigate not only supporting their students, but also kind of some of the burdens and traumas that they're facing during that time. And so we have, again, our different departments are providing training in that. And then myself, I have quite a few offerings that I'm offering as well. And then also relying on our community members too, different organizations like the National Alliance of Mental Illness. Each year we've been partnering with them to support them. They come out and do a presentation on ending the silence for our junior high and high school students in some of our support groups. And then we have the opportunity to fundraise and participate in NAMI walks. So that's just a couple of examples of how we've used our existing community partnerships to really build SEL in the district too.
That's awesome. I've had the opportunity to work with NAMI in the past, and they're an amazing organization. They do some really amazing work.
They do.
So that's a really big initiative you've got for a big professional development initiative for your staff. How have your staff taken to it? Do they like it?
They do. At first I was kind of nervous about it because anytime you mandate something, sometimes people don't always, respond to it well. But I think especially this year with the self-awareness and self-care focus, we've had some opportunities to do some creative things, like some things with photography where they're kind of photographing things that relate to their identity as just people and just as they're in their role in the district too. So we're getting some great feedback on that. And then also some campuses are doing some things on their own, and they're consulting with us, but they're really taking ownership, like we want this for our campus, and how can we really best support our staff in that way.
I love that you love the idea that you're doing these photo identity projects. What does that remind me of? There's like an actual participatory. Here's the buzzword I'm going to throw. Participatory.
Yes.
We both know the same buzzword.
Yes, I'm actually using that in my dissertation. So I kind of selfishly kind of tried it out unofficially with with my district, they let me do that. So
that's really, and how's it work? Because that's a project that I've always loved, and I've never actually met somebody that's actually put it into practice before.
Well, we kind of gave them some guidelines of things to look for, things that bring meaning to their lives, and then we kind of charged them too with captioning those things. And so we gave them some examples of, you might look at a leaf and see it's just a green leaf, and that might be your caption, but you might look at it as new beginning. So we kind of, let them play around with that. And so we've got a variety of ways of how they're looking at their profession and their role, and then also their personal lives too. And so it's really kind of neat to see those two come together in the projects that they're turning in.
That's really cool. Do you see have you seen any of that trickling down into the classroom? Or, I mean, that's kind of, or I don't know if you've actually got classrooms or if it's all online these days, but what have you seen trickling down from the work you're doing with staff to students?
We have, actually, I think even we have kind of mixture. We have some students who are virtual learners, and then we have some that are in person. And so I know some teachers, I think our AVID classes are trying out the participatory photography at one campus. So I haven't heard back about how it's gone yet. It's more been like, I want to try this with my kids. And so just kind of, thinking outside the box. And so mostly at the secondary level, but I think some teachers might try to do it at the elementary level too.
That's really neat. I think, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered in rolling out this program over the last couple of years?
I think it's just spreading the word. I mean, there's, a lot of times teachers and school staff in general just have a lot on their plate. And really letting them know that this is not, we don't want to make this another thing that you have to do. We want to make it something that's relevant to your lives. Just like social emotional learning, we don't want it to be another thing for kids, but something that's relative to their lives. And so I think that was a challenge at first, but I think just visiting campuses, talking to them, and kind of seeing what their needs are too, has really helped us to develop something that works best for them.
So I always like I know we're running close on time, but I always want to end these by picking your brain a little bit and finding out the nugget of wisdom that you want. That I know you've probably got a lot, but but what is one nugget of wisdom that you would share for other people who are looking to do similar work to yours? Something we've been talking about here, trying to kind of support staff social emotional learning.
Right. I think if I could go back, maybe having more of a strategic way of kind of gauging what staff need. A lot of it was really anecdotal and just through conversations, but if there was some way that we could, kind of gather that information, I think would be the best way. And again, it worked out that self-awareness and self-care was a hit, but even looking forward, we'll be changing our theme for next year. And so I'm kind of even looking now, okay, what are the needs of the teachers, and what's it going to be moving forward? How
are you gauging that now? And have you come up with some strategies?
We do have some surveys that we issue through the district that we use to gather kind of teacher feedback. And then we even have some a lot of that is focused on the students, but we're kind of changing the wording so that we're figuring out what is it that they need too.
Oh, all right. Well, I said that was the last thing, but actually I had one other thing. You slyly dropped in there. You dropped the word dissertation in. So yes. How's it going?
It's going. It's going.
What are you dissertating on?
I'm looking at the curriculum or curricular decision-making and instructional practices of Black male elementary teachers. And so I was not an elementary teacher. I was a secondary teacher before I was in this role. So this is really outside of my realm, but I felt like it was really a topic that needed to be explored, especially as we're looking at the needs of our students and looking at, what leads, what are the decisions that Black male educators have to make, especially at the elementary level? What kind of biases are they facing? So yeah, it's been an interesting study. So I'm starting the data collection right now. So excited.
Well, that's really neat. Keep us updated on if you get a chance, because I know it's a lot of work, but please keep us updated on what you're doing, because that sounds incredibly interesting.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much again for joining us. For those of you who are not in our community who are watching on our Facebook page or on Twitter. I've mentioned our community a couple of times here, and I just wanted to share where you can find it. So if you are interested in joining our online community for Second Step educators, you can find it on Facebook right here. We would love to have you join. It's a great space. Ashley is one of our mentors in the community, but we've just got a ton of, it's like almost we got over 7,000 people in there, hundreds of thousands of years of experience with the Second Step program, a lot of great expertise. It's a great place to come together and kind of meet colleagues from around the world who are doing similar work to the work that you are doing as well. And if you are a member and you're watching in the community right now, hello, thank you very much. And we will see you later on Facebook. So until then, thank you, Ashley. It's been a pleasure to have you join us. And thank you everyone for listening.